Welcome to our tub. Come on in. It's warm inside, and there's always room for more.
This podcast contains adult material and is intended for mature audiences only. If you're under 18, grab your rubber ducky and find another tub. This one's not for you.
Hello and welcome back in the tub for episode 210. I'm Mr. Berg.
And I'm Mrs. Berg.
And this week we have a full episode and a very special guest joining us. Mm-hmm. You're not going to hear from us too much here at the beginning.
Or at the end.
No. Really, truly appreciate this guest actually reaching out to us. We had seen her at AVN. Mm-hmm. And as we talked during the interview, she's been in the media recently sharing her story and the goods, the bads,
the uglies,
of the industry, as well as been in the industry for some positive changes in her personal life as of recently. Mm-hmm. So when she reached out, we'd love to sit and have a conversation. And it really was. We had a great time. We talked after, we talked before, we talked during, and really learned a lot. Great woman, positive, contradictory to some articles that have been posted in the media as of recently. So extremely positive, talks well of the industry. She's just not afraid to share
her true feelings
and
opinions.
Yes, and the other side that is reality that not everyone sees as well. So again, it was a pleasure, a great conversation, and well, we're ready to bring that to you now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our conversation with Addyson James.
You got a plan, choosing in the hot tub, don't making the water all fucking gross. You got a plan, choosing in the hot tub. I don't know what this doing in this food. I got fight my rage, put your stupid phone away.
All right, well, welcome back in the tub. We want to thank our next guest for taking time out of her busy schedule to join us today. This stunning blonde bombshell has gone from serving her country in the military to serving the deepest fantasies of her fans as a content creator, performer, and legal courtesan. She is extremely open and honest about the sex work industry and her journey through the roller coaster ride it has been. Most recently, finding what we all strive for in life, love. And we're excited to dig into some of the stories and learn who she truly is today. Please welcome Addyson James.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
And again, thank you for taking time out of the day. We're all busy. We work, life, everything, and so it's truly a pleasure to just get some time out and, as we said before recording, get to make a new friend and find out what it is that brings you to this industry, to life, and what might be in the future for fans that are listening, and maybe a few new fans, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah. So as we get comfortable, can you let everyone know where can they find you online and on social media?
All right. So online for my OnlyFans, you can find me at Naughty Addyson. And remember, Addyson is spelled Addyson. Twitter is Addyson James. And Instagram is The Desert MILF.
Awesome. Well, and those links will be in the show notes, so listeners can find those, and as well they'll be on the social media post when this hits. So there you are, easy to find.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. And so as we said, it has, when we did our research, and there's listeners always kind of, research, you're watching porn, yes, but there is so much more. And wind the clock back, a long military career.
5 years.
Yes. And, during what's the proper term? And an unknown and unsafe time. I mean, it was during a conflict. So
It was.
that is, I mean, I have friends that were overseas during that time. It takes a lot.
Yeah, it was an interesting time for sure. And, you're doing what you're trained to do, but you're kind of thrown into the unknown, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen from minute to day to day. And you just do what you're taught to do and hope for the best.
Yeah. And return from that and say, hey, you were at the time when you came back, what did you hop into?
So when I got out of the military after 5 years, I actually became an esthetician and laser technician, and I was in skincare for 23 years.
All right. So
Yeah, so something totally different.
yeah, but at the same time, learning, was that West Coast, East Coast? I mean, was that somewhere that you might have been working with industry people or anyone involved with it?
No, so I'm originally from Vermont, and so after leaving the Navy out of Southern California, I went back to Vermont. And so there was no industry people. I didn't even think about the industry, none of that, It was just that's what I wanted to do. And, at that point in my life, I kind of lived a very vanilla lifestyle, per se.
And that area of the country, I mean, Mrs. is from Connecticut. We met in Rhode Island. That's not the hotbed of adult entertainment. Gosh, I think when we were in college, there might have been, was there one, maybe two gentlemen's clubs around there? Like it wasn't it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So, so you have another extended career. You enjoy it, but needed something different.
Yeah, I loved my career and I still love the business. But whenever you're in service work like that, and you're one-on-one with clients, you very much become a therapist as well. And you take on everyone's problems and everyone's emotions and everyone's everything. And some days it's all happy news with the 8 clients that you had. Some days it's all sad news. And that can really weigh on you over time. And so I think I had come to a point where I still loved what I was doing, but I was exhausted and it was time to change. I didn't want to push myself to continue to do it until I hated it. I wanted to get out before I hated it.
Well, and as Mrs. laughed, she is an occupational therapist. So she's one-on-one and yeah, it becomes more mentally draining than anything.
Right.
Yeah. And as you said, get out before you really hate it. Because the last thing you want to do is get up in the morning and be like, fuck, I got to go to work again just to make the rent payment.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling. So
at that point, was it a move? Was it what transpired when you got out? Did you have a plan when you're like, hey, I want to explore something?
So I'll back up a little bit. So I moved to Arizona about 9 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been a swinger for over a decade. Primarily as a single unicorn.
Okay.
But I would always have to, you're speaking of Connecticut. In order to be involved in that, I had to go to Boston. There was nothing in my neck of the woods, nor would I have done it because the community's so small and the kind of work I did, everyone would have known, right? And I just wasn't comfortable with that. So I moved to, I eventually, I moved to Arizona. I was still an esthetician. And then I had this company in Arizona that shoots first timers, girls that have never shot anything. They're not on OnlyFans. They're just fresh faces. Reach out to me to shoot. And they reached out to me, I think for 2, maybe 3 years. And it wasn't because I didn't say yes because I was afraid of the work. I thought it would be thrilling and, all the things. It was, I wasn't prepared what would happen if my current job at the time found out and I lost that job. I didn't have a backup plan per se.
Totally fair. And I just got to back up one moment because listeners, And I mean, we've been lifestyle for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
Right here is proof. Unicorns do exist.
They do. They do.
That's the mecca of the lifestyle. Oh, unicorns. Like, yeah, good luck. I just had a break in there. They do exist.
Yes.
So, and with that fear is a true, honest emotion, because it's, oh my gosh, like previously, and listeners know kind of our story. We just recently began showing our faces on social media. For 4 years, we didn't show our faces with this show.
Wow.
Mrs. Job. She has since changed jobs. And
Yeah.
that job, it was like, we better not.
Treading fine lines.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And it was the environment she was in as a therapist. We're like, yeah, we better just watch it. So that it's totally, unfortunately, in this day and age, that's a risk.
100%. And, I will say that I was, I did work for that company when I finally said yes. And I shot a couple scenes, and I loved what I was doing. Again, I wasn't ready to give up my day job per se for a new porn career, because I didn't really know what was going to happen with that. And I decided, I better go talk to my boss before somebody else sees it online and tells her first. And I was really lucky. She's a GYN, and she's a big promoter of women's health, sexual health, and wellness as well.
Awesome.
And I went right to her, and I said, look, and if I said, I just want you to know before someone else tells you, because I don't want you to come up, it seemed like I'm being disrespectful, but I'm doing this. And she was super, I think she was a little surprised, but she wasn't upset. She didn't fire me. She just said, I want you to be careful, safety.
Sure.
Right.
And we don't talk about it when we're at this job. Clearly, we don't talk about it at that job.
Yeah.
And so I would say I got lucky, in the sense that that work supported me doing what I was doing. And then it just got to a point where the porn started getting busier and busier, and I was asking for more time off, and it just didn't work anymore. They couldn't afford to have me gone as much as I was leaving. So I had to give that job up.
Yeah.
But I was thankful that they still allowed me, to work there. And that gave me a little extra time to really kind of figure out how the porn industry and what that was going to look like in my life.
And that's big, because we see over the time so many faces come in, and in 6 months it's gone. You have to be able to have that ability to navigate it with something else to fall back on. It's so great to be able to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, having the support of other people. There's a lot of people in this industry who don't have support from friends, family, whoever it may be. And they kind of go in on this, and they're all alone. And I think we can all agree this business can be a very, very lonely business. We might be with people all the time, but it can be very lonely.
You definitely need a support network. For
Yes.
sure. And some of that support network, and we've talked to other friends we've made over the years, some of that support network needs to be outside of the industry.
100%.
Just to have that someone to talk to that isn't in the thick of it as well. So,
Absolutely.
Awesome. And again, that is, so the start of that journey was extremely positive.
It was.
In having that support and the backing and the ability to essentially dip your toes in the water and go in slowly.
Yes. I'm very thankful for that. I still could have used, I'm not going to lie, I still could have used more time at that other job financially, right?
Yeah.
But at that time, I had to make a decision, and I realized porn is really allowing me to do something I've wanted to do for a long time, and that's just be my authentic self sexually. And I was really craving to have that. And wow, what an amazing feeling to to just get up every day and feel sexually free, and I get to have sex for a living. I think it's a pretty good job.
And and a lot of people don't have that ability. And we talk about from the swingers world, the ethical non-monogamy. Everything is so cultural norms make it bottled up and keep it closed. So you don't have that ability to expand, to grow. Like as we've progressed through, you find things that you're like, oh shit, I didn't think I'd like that. Oh shit, I didn't think that would get me off like it does.
Right.
And you're living that to be able to explore yourself and essentially be whole.
Yes, 100%.
So is there something throughout this that you've learned about yourself that you didn't think would be something that would be like, wow, all right, that was a great experience. I'm going to maybe add that to my list.
Yeah. I would say shooting with multiple partners in the sense of, when I did my first gangbang, I came to a point where I wanted to try it, but I never really thought I'd like it. One is, it can seem, and it is at times very overwhelming when you have 5, 6, 7, 8, however many guys there are, right? I mean, there's only so much of you and there's so many of them, and trying to coordinate how that all works can seem very overwhelming and almost to a point where they're taking over everything and you're just kind of there. But that wasn't my experience. My experience was, very much, I was the center of everything and I did more of the directing. I want you here and I want you here and I want you, and it was just so nice how involved they made me. I didn't feel like I was just the girl there to take all the dick, and that was it.
That's fair. You've said that.
Yeah.
As we've had conversations.
Yeah. Even with just you and another guy, it's still like, how do I make sure that someone doesn't feel left out? Or
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think, sorry, and with that, it's communication.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it has to be. Again, hey, that happens on set, that happens in real life, that happens anywhere. Communicate. But again, that is, something that outside of the industry, would that have ever been a thing? Maybe at some point down the line in the lifestyle, but you went back to what your boss had said about being safe. That in the lifestyle, like even at a club, I don't know that I would have that feeling of being safe, of feeling safe for her at a lifestyle club, being like, all right, there you are on the bed, open door. Hey, bring the wieners in and go to town.
Yeah, no, I've never felt that at a club, that was a safe thing to do. I mean, I got to pick the people who I wanted involved in this, and I had, and all the things. So I felt very safe, and obviously we go over boundaries and all of those things. And I think sometimes in the club, you got that open door, and they all start walking in. They just all kind of do what they want to do. And some people in the lifestyle, and I think we've dealt with this as well, they still don't know how to stand up for themselves. It can become overwhelming, and they just kind of freeze and just let things happen instead of saying, wait, stop. I don't want you to do that. People can be afraid sometimes they're going to hurt someone else's feelings. And I've come to the point in my life when it comes to sex and things like that, I don't care whose feelings I hurt. If it's something I don't like or want, or you're hurting me, I'm going to stop and I'm going to speak up because it's my body.
And without a doubt, and yeah, we've seen instances, and we've read on message boards. Oh, should have said something. And no, there's no reason you should wake up the next morning being like, oh fuck, I fucked up.
Right.
Nah, guess what? Yeah, if it's all about you as the person, and if somebody else's panties get in a bunch, so be it. Well, that's the way it is.
Right.
Yeah, I've told you, I don't like the whole group room at the club either, because that's like,
yeah, we've seen that where you get
free for all. No.
No. Where you get 12 couples plus a couple single
yeah.
guys, and it's just like, we're
Yeah.
not about that Roman orgy type thing necessarily.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
Unless we have like total control over who those people are.
Yeah.
100%. And I really think that if you're going to, for me anyway, if I was going to do something like that, I would do it in the comfort of my own home.
Right.
I want control of the whole situation.
Yeah. And essentially we have had that. We've had one experience that was that way, and it was essentially what, 4 couples? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 4 couples together, and okay, everything was, and we all knew each other.
Right.
You know, so at some point in time, all 4 couples had played together with each other. So okay, that's a little bit different. And again, it's the experience. It helps you grow both personally and professionally.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And unfortunately, there is a lot of downside of the industry as well.
Sure.
You know, and you've definitely without and great to be able to share that experience. Hey, it's all not all glitz and glamour. It is a tough business. It's still a job and it's a business. You're essentially building your own brand.
You are. And, you know, the grind, what I say, what we all say is, you know, the grind is never ending. This is not an 8 to 5 job where you, when you get done, you know, you go back to, no, sometimes you're working 8, 10, 12, 15-hour days. You've got exoticas to get ready for. You got AVNs to get ready for. You've got so many collabs you've got to do because you do, depending on how many releases you do a month, and you've got editing. I mean, it's never ending. And let's be honest, the business is expensive. Most companies don't fly you out to shoot anymore. There's very few companies that pay for your travel. So you're testing, your travel, your food, none of that. That's all on you. And guess what? You don't get paid until after the scene, but you have to deal with all those expenses up front first.
Sure. And
So people
it gets
think we make
expensive.
it does get expensive. And I had a fan one time say, well, you make $10,000 a scene. I said, are you kidding me? Most people don't even make $10,000 a year. Depending on how much you're shooting. And so I had to, at that point, I had to take it as an educational moment to teach this person, no, this is really how it looks. Like, this is how the pricing goes as far as pro scenes for most people and what it looks like. Yeah, if I'm shooting, 25 days a month for 12 months, yeah, I'm making a great income a year. But if I'm only shooting once or twice a month, 7 out of 12 months, that's not a lot of money. What are you doing in between? I have to do all my OnlyFans stuff. You have to find other streams of income. You can't just depend on the mainstream.
Yeah. And that is, when we look at right now, the industry is at an all-time high as far as performers. A lot of that is because of the OnlyFans world. But when you look at studios even now, and as you said, like, we've talked to performers from the 2000s.
Yeah.
And, they have, the one thing that has always rang true with it, they have all said, it's not what it was. It's not a family anymore. There isn't the big budget stuff. We're not flying out somewhere, staying in a model house, being fed for a week or 10 days at a time, and filming one big production or a couple things and then coming home. It's different.
Yes. And I've heard the same thing. And, I've certainly wished that I would have thought earlier on in my, in life that I wanted to do porn, because I would have loved to experience it in that time frame. I heard it was a great time to be in porn, you know?
Yeah.
And and there was a much bigger level, I think, of respect. Porn always has, its downsides to, it's adult entertainment, but porn stars were looked at. I mean, Pamela Anderson, in this one and that one. I mean, they were very glamorous. They were respected. They were, these. Now, in the industry, it's so oversaturated, which I think is pros and cons. And again, I do believe it comes from the OnlyFans world. But anybody can say they're a porn star now. Anybody can say that.
And that is, you're absolutely not wrong, because like there's that line of you're a content creator or you're a porn star. So what dictates that? Nobody knows. All right, I show my butthole online. I'm a porn star. I had that conversation with a waitress at the restaurant that I run at night. And she was doing OnlyFans, and I'm like, look, you are not going to get rich and make a fortune just because you're showing your butthole.
Right.
Well, but I put content out, like once a week, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but what are you making? What are you doing? I'm like, you're still here running around like crazy, waiting tables because you can't make ends meet. It is really it's a tough industry, and what you had just said about glamour. We had a guest on the show that she actually said exactly that word. And she said, I wish and she was speaking about the AVN Awards. She said back in the 2000s,
90s.
it was, and the 90s, it was glamorous.
Yes.
It was glamour. I wish it would get back. Those were her words. And that kind of stuck. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And she's like, no, it was glamorous back then.
People took pride in how they looked. They dressed up. They showed up. They took pride in, the films that they were producing and the companies they were representing. They didn't show up in sweatpants. They didn't show up in fucking pajamas and slippers. And, I think there's times that, I've been to 3 AVNs in my career because I've been in for 3 years. And there are times I just laugh and I'm saying, how did we get here? How did this get to this point?
Yeah.
Did anybody ever allow this to happen?
And so someone had asked me, they're like, well, so you're going out to Vegas. What are you going out for? And I'm like, the AVN Awards. And this person, honestly, they were like, the AVNs. And I said, look, it is the Oscars of the porn industry. And they're like, oh, and that is glamorous. You think about that, like that is what it should be. And I remember, too, from back in the day, I mean, my parents owned a video store growing up. So I was introduced to porn at an early age because I'm like, oh, what are those things in the drawer that there's no boxes on? I mean, okay. Oh, wow. A 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy. I'm like, whoa, here we go. And the store, my parents were getting the AVN print magazine.
Oh.
So I was looking at the AVN print magazine back in the 80s when it was out.
Yes. Yeah, when there was a magazine.
Exactly. And it truly was. You're just like, wow, look at the gowns and the tuxes and all of like everything wrapped around that.
Yep. And I remember, looking at Playboy magazines. I mean, Playboy was a beautiful magazine. Say what you want about but the magazine itself was beautiful. Really well done for many, many years, and actually had some really good articles and think, it was a great magazine. But it was tastefully done always. Yes. And I remember, and I was like, those girls are so beautiful. And I said, one day I'm going to be in Playboy, I didn't really give it much thought in the sense of like porn or anything like that. And when I was in the military, I actually started doing photo shoots every year. So like I started getting involved, like, I want to do a photo shoot just for myself.
Yeah.
And every time I did a photo shoot, I'm like, maybe someday I'm doing Playboy, like, whatever. And of course I didn't make it to Playboy and that's fine. But I remember thinking I would love to look like one of those glamorous models in the magazine.
Yeah. And it was. And unfortunately some of that, you're right, has changed. And it was. We will say it was an experience this year for us at AVN. It was our first time out there, and I'm like, you know what? It fit. We got out there. It was a good time. To say it was what we expected. We were on the side of the red carpet, and there was definitely some performers that went all out. They put a lot of effort and thought into their look, which was awesome. So,
and then you have other people who show up in jeans and a t-shirt and call it a day.
Yeah.
And some that were dressed for the glamour of it, and some that were dressed more for the shock factor of it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
And some to go out and just gamble at the casino afterwards. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
so
But I do wish that it would go back to a little, rein it in a little bit, and let's make this an event where everyone comes out looking their best
yeah,
and wants to look their best,
yeah,
you know?
make it
I
a
think
giant spectacle.
Absolutely.
And because that as well can help the industry,
I agree.
because there still is always so much stigma behind the industry. You know, something like that where it is back to the glamorous, I think could shine a positive light, even if it's for one
100%.
day. Like, fuck, every
Yeah.
little bit helps.
Well, and a lot of fans, people who consume porn, they may not follow us on socials. So they may not ever see us, when we post an AVN photo in our beautiful dress on Twitter, right? They didn't see that side of me. All they see me is with my legs spread open, having sex with, and doing what I do.
Yeah,
And so, to, again, put the human side back into the equation. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans,
exactly.
and we're not just here to have sex and make porn and be robots.
Without a doubt. And because, again, yeah, you're all humans. At the end of the day, you're doing your scene, you're showering, you got to go home, you got to go grocery shopping, cook dinner, walk the dog, wash clothes, all of that shit. We've tried so much, and we shared with you, tried to portray to friends, to listeners of this show. It's a job. At the end of the day, Addyson James has to go away, and you have to go back to your true self.
Yes.
So from that standpoint, what does that look like? When you are yourself, what is it you're doing, you enjoy? How do you get that mental health break, which is such a big stigma in the industry as well?
Yeah. What that looks like for me is, I live in Arizona, so I primarily travel to, Vegas or LA. And when I get home, it's, showering, all the things, and then putting on sweatpants and just getting in bed and snuggling with my dog,
There you go.
and just, and just, okay, nobody's watching me. I don't have to smile for the camera. I can do whatever. My hair can be a mess. I don't need any makeup, and it's nice when you get to go back to being your real self and you're not playing a part. Although I love playing that part, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I love being Addyson, but that's not who I can be 24/7. And I refuse to be her 24/7 because I don't think that's healthy either.
And it's not. And as you were saying earlier, it could be a 15, 18-hour day. And unfortunately, the world of social media at our fingertips on a phone make it that way. But you have to have that decompress and just like breathe a deep breath and be like, all right, fuck. Here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's, and I understand in this industry, when you're getting big and, the directors are calling and booking, that's all well and good, but you can't forget to take some time for yourself. If that means you take off one day a week, whatever it is, and do something that's not related to this industry. And if that means you literally just want to stay in bed and Netflix all day, that's okay.
Yeah.
But just do something to just relax.
Yeah. And again, to relax, to unwind, to be in your home, because as you said, with all the travel, all that stuff that is involved in this industry, like ourselves here, we're in Western Pennsylvania. Well, there's not content houses. There's not a lot of performers. Like, where are you getting content? Where are you doing collabs? Well, you got to get in the car and drive hours, or get on a plane and fly somewhere. Spend that money, as you said, spending money on testing. We've talked on the show about it. When we got to Vegas for AVN, we got in on Sunday.
Yeah.
On Monday, we scheduled tests.
Yeah.
Well, that was $500 for the two of us. that is an expense every
Yeah.
10 to 14 days.
Yeah. And out of that test that is good for the 10 to 14 days, you then learn how to say, okay, so out of that test, I need to get this many pro scenes, for my example, or this many collabs to make it worth the $500 that I just spent, because just doing one does not cover the cost of that $500.
Yeah.
Doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
So there's a whole method to the madness of how much work you have to do to make make that add up and make money from it.
Yeah. And that is where the CEO businesswoman comes in, because guess what? It has to be profitable at the end of the day. There needs to be a return on an investment that fans do not see. The ones that are, and I've seen quite a bit recently on social media, where some of these sites are, there's a chargeback. Because his customer said whatever. And they take it back. Well, but why? They already got the content. They don't realize it. Like free porn, like the tube sites. No, pay for what you are enjoying, because there's a lot of money that goes into just putting that out. Money and time. Editing. Gosh, we've discussed doing a video episode of this show. I had a friend. His wife's in the industry. He's the stunt cock, and he does all the editing. He's like, look at this program. Well, that program's $300. Okay. Yeah. Well, now I'm like, all right, well, I'm going, holy shit. Now this is a couple hours of time invested. So what's your time really worth?
Right.
I mean, I'm in sales during the day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's my return on my investment? Here's what 1 hour is worth of my time. You need to figure that out.
Absolutely. And I think with, the OnlyFans coming out over the years and the oversaturation of people, it has really watered down our worth, because some people think, I want quick money, so I'll just have super low rates. And the people will pay it. You got to work twice as hard or triple as hard to make the money that you are wanting to. But they think because they're getting all these people that that's the way to do it. But then that person tells everybody else, and then they go on someone else's OnlyFans and they want to yell at them for not having the same low prices as somebody else. When you can't compare two people's fan sites, we're all different people and we all have our own rates and we all have our own specialties and things that we do. But it's gotten to a point now that it's like, if your prices are too high, you're probably going to get overlooked, because so many of the prices are so low at this point.
Unless you have a name
that's recognizable,
exactly.
And you have a huge following, you've been around for 15, 20 years, or, you maybe you've only been around 5 or 6, but you won Performer of the Year and big things like that. And you were able to capture those fans early on.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's cutthroat, and no one should have to undercut themselves for the time, the effort, the quality, everything that they put into it. And and unfortunately, that's...
But it's like anything in this world. I mean, tattoos. If a tattoo is cheap, it's probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
Correct.
Or
you get what you pay for.
Clean or... Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, in the restaurant business, again, during the day I'm in sales, at night I developed and run a restaurant. Well, people are like, well, that steak is $50. I'm like, well, yeah, it is, because here's the process to it. Like, do you want it or not? If not, go down the road to the local gyro guy that's buying frozen stuff and slapping it on a plate.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not afraid to, I'll say this to fans quite frequently, if they start in with, I want a deal, or this, first of all, no one's entitled to a deal or anything. Like, who do you think you are? You don't, nobody deserves, Yeah. And my other thing is, when you go shopping at Louis Vuitton, do you ask them for a discount? And that's what I say. Yeah. And then people just stop and they just stop talking, because they know that's not a thing. And I said, this consuming my custom work, which, OnlyFans is what I consider custom work, right?
Sure.
Because is a luxury. It's not a necessity. So if you can't afford my prices, then maybe you shouldn't be here. But I do not have to tailor my prices because you can't afford what I'm offering.
Yeah, because you're budget shopping. I mean, maybe there's someone else out there that can, but it's not me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm okay with saying, good luck, find somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
No, and that's part of you as a person as well. That, like, you shouldn't feel like you have to downgrade yourself, your work, your time, anything.
Yeah. Yeah. You put too many hours in to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we even see it at conventions. These guys that come up with 50 photos to get signed and then complain because, oh, it happened at AVN.
Yeah.
The one guy complained because the performer said, oh, come back later or something like that.
I'm charging it straight up, $10 a photo.
Yeah.
And essentially these guys were looking to turn around and they had a stack of 100 photos.
And they want to
gonna
sell them.
sell them. Yeah. And she was like,
Get the signature and resell them.
Yeah. They're
Absolutely
like,
not.
Yeah, and the one, she was like, no, I'm signing 3. That's it. And it's $20 per signature. Well, what do you mean? That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're turning and burning, looking for, like, okay, crazy.
Besides the fact that they're holding up the line for everybody else.
Yeah, no kidding at conventions, yeah.
Yeah. It's wild.
So speaking of conventions,
Yeah.
we did see on social media you are planning on being in Chicago in, like, we just talked about it. It's like 7 weeks away.
Yes, it's coming right up. It will be my first time in Chicago. I'm very excited.
The Chicago Exotica is a great time. The convention,
That's what I've heard.
it really gets a huge turnout. The location is nice. So it is really a great time. We got our room booked. We're ready to go. We started going there about 4 years ago or so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we had always done the New Jersey. Based on where we are, Chicago is the second
New Jersey.
farthest from us.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, now they went to Minneapolis. I'm like, ooh, okay, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Chicago is a great time. Great fan base. Just a really well-attended show.
Yeah. Part of what I've been working on this year is getting more exposure. So, I did finally I never went to an Exotica until last year. I went to New Jersey, which was wonderful. And then this year I'm going to do Chicago, which will also be wonderful. I don't think I'll ever go back to the Miami, even though they changed the dates. Miami, they don't really care. Like, they see this stuff all the time. It's nothing new. It's not, And so when I went to the Miami one, I didn't find that it was super beneficial. It was more people just walking around, but no one wanted to purchase or, really engage or anything. It wasn't. But I thought New Jersey was great. I'm looking forward to Chicago.
Yeah, and we did Miami this past year for the first time. And people had always said, they're like, look, that is the creator collab convention. And someone else said, look, somebody could go right down to South Beach and see the same thing for free.
And probably more.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, and again, we enjoyed it. It was because for us, it allowed us, we met some people we hadn't had a chance to talk to.
Yes.
We literally hung out with friends, and then we piggybacked it and went to Secrets Resort. It's a lifestyle nudist resort in Orlando.
Yep.
I said, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. We're down here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Miami definitely was that, like, boy, there's nobody here.
Yeah. I think the only reason we'd consider going back is now they moved it and it's going to be cold here when it's warm there.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's a great time to leave the Northeast Florida.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, the beginning of December, we could use a little break in Miami. That wouldn't be bad.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, that's awesome then. So fans have the opportunity to meet you. Now, are you going to be at a booth? Do you know that yet?
I don't have that information yet. That's something I am working on. I'm just not quite sure which direction I'm going to go in. I've got a couple of options. So I'm just, when I get a second to breathe here, which will hopefully be in another week, I can sit down and finally, look at it and focus on seeing where I'm going to be at as far as a booth and things like that.
Awesome. So as we kind of wind down this conversation, and as you said, getting to conventions, getting more exposure, kind of back into the industry after a little bit of a break, is there anything you can give listeners like a peek under the hood of what may be coming in the future this year? Something on tap? Any plans or visions for this year?
I have a lot, I have a long list of goals this year, that I'm very passionate about. And, I may not reach all of them, and that's okay. All that matters is that I tried, right? Is that I
That's
did
it.
everything I could, right? And I don't expect to meet all of them. But I think that there is going to be a series with me and my new husband that is going to come out at some point. We haven't started anything yet. We're still in the talks, him and I.
Awesome.
But I got married 3 months ago, and he's 77. He's a little bit older than me. And but he is kind of liking the thought of maybe doing a little on film stuff for me, maybe playing, doing some cuck scenes or something like that.
Awesome.
So that would be really fun, I think. And but yeah, that would be something very different and fun to get to do with him.
Awesome. And again, we did mention that at the beginning. This industry has so much stigma, and as you've rode this roller coaster, and the highs, the lows, from content, from performer, to your work at Sherry's, which we really didn't touch much about, but that work and the sex work industry led to what you just said, finding love.
Yeah, it did. I when I was working at Sherry's, that's where I met my husband. He came in to originally spend one night with me. He had sent me an email. His wife had died about a year prior, and he was, feeling like he needed some intimacy in his life, which is totally understandable.
Sure.
They were
Completely
married
normal.
for 40,
Yeah.
very normal. They were married for 40 years, but I could understand his hesitation too but the brothel he knew was safe. It was legal. We're
Exactly.
tested,
Yeah.
all of those things. We check all those safety boxes, right? You're not
Yeah.
just picking me up on the side of the road and hope that the cops don't pull you over for having me in the car, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And one night actually turned into 2 nights. So he spent 2 overnights with me for about $25,000. And we got married 2 months later. And on Valentine's Day, we celebrated our 3-month wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And he's fantastic. This is a whole new world for him, the world that I'm in.
Sure.
But he's been very open. We've had a lot of conversations. I understand that it can be hard from someone from the vanilla world coming into a world like this. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that don't make sense until you kind of witness them, as far as like how do collabs work and things like that. Are you guys, yes, you guys are having sex, but are you being intimate? I'm like, there's nothing intimate about anything that I'm doing on camera. Like the intimacy is,
There's nothing
it's my husband.
nothing intimate about that camera being all up in your hoo-ha.
No, not at all. And I said, it's literally a job. I go, the camera goes on, I take my clothes off, we do our thing, camera goes off, scene's done, shower, put my clothes back on and call it a day.
Yep. Shake hands,
and,
exchange paperwork, and thank
and
you.
That's it. And thank you. And so, it's been wonderful to have his support in this. Because again, a lot of people, they might be married or have a significant other, but they might not be as supportive as they would like them to be, And I'm so glad that I get to do something that I love with the person that I love by my side.
Yeah. And again, that's awesome. As from the lifestyle standpoint, to find someone that can be like, oh, but communication is key. We talk about, I titled it the 3 C's of the lifestyle, is communication, consent, and coming. Well, and to be able to communicate, through that, it really is awesome that you found that he is able to understand with the communication. And hey, exactly like we said, this is a job.
Yeah.
here we go.
Right.
Yeah, it may be out of the norm what people say, oh, you're supposed to keep that behind closed doors. No, it's a job.
I mean, and
Yep.
that's something that fans and people don't realize either. How hard it is to find those relationships, especially
very
with
hard.
someone outside of the industry coming
Yes.
into that world, and it doesn't always work.
It doesn't. And I, and in the beginning and there still is, but there was a lot of conversations and I could tell there was some hesitation. Not that he was telling me not to do it, but hesitation because there were things he didn't understand.
Right.
And I get that because there's a lot to learn.
Right. And
There
he was
really is a lot to learn in this industry.
and he was
And,
open to learn and to understand. And that's awesome. Not everyone finds that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when
In
it's,
their
Very
shoes.
lucky.
it's a passion of yours, and from a job standpoint, to be able to say, okay, hey, this is your job and it is what you enjoy. You are good at it. So I'm going to, I'm going to work on myself a little bit to understand that.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
It's been a ride.
Yeah. Well, and again, best wishes for a long ride, and look
Thank
forward
you.
to that series if it does kind of come to fruition and build, because that would, again, there's not many people that are able to say that it's
Yeah.
actually this is us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well,
I
this
look forward to seeing you guys in Chicago.
Yes.
Oh, yes,
We
definitely.
look forward as well. This has been a pleasure. As we wind down, can you let everyone know one more time, where can they find you online and on social media?
Yes. So OnlyFans is Naughty Addison, Addyson. Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, is Addison James. And Instagram is The Desert MILF.
Awesome. Again, thank you very much for your time, and enjoy
Oh,
the
thank
rest
you for
of your
having me.
evening.
It was a great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that wraps up our conversation. We definitely, as we said, had we talked for a little while afterwards.
Yes.
And definitely look forward to catching up very shortly in Chicago as we're quickly approaching March, which means we're only about 6 weeks or so away from heading out to Chicago for Exotica. So we'll definitely,
March is next week, isn't it?
it is.
Good Lord.
So we'll definitely be talking about the upcoming Exotica convention as we do in episodes here coming up real soon. Will say, I did see a post last week that the host hotel is already sold out. I don't remember in the time we've been going to Chicago where that hotel is sold out this soon. So it's a good thing.
Although with how weather has turned again recently, that could be an interesting.
It's in April. I don't even want to talk. I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it. Like, go to Chicago. Go to Chicago. Who cares about the weather? Yeah. It's only 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
It's fast approaching. So thanks for hopping in and joining us this week.
Yes.
I think think we're set to call this episode a wrap.
210's a wrap, folks.
Don't forget to follow us on our social medias. Berg Couple for Fun on Twitter and Instagram. The Bergs on Facebook and Reddit. OnlyFans
No,
is... What's the OnlyFans? There's 2 of them.
there are.
Did you... yeah, I remember that one. There's 2 of them. So, there is ours. Is Berg Couple for Fun. But then... Then...
Yes,
Mrs. has her own.
that's right.
Oh. And that is
Mrs. Berg.
all right. So you can catch us there as well. You can hit us up on email, thebergs@inourtub.com.
Right?
Our website is inourtub.com.
Catch us on Free Swap or
Full.
full Free Swap, Full Swap Radio. See, you asked me if I remember my
Free
lines.
for all swap. I mean, hey.
On
more the
Full Swap
merrier.
Radio.
Yes. Monday at 9 and Fridays at 1. And hey, keep an eye out on those social medias as well. That's where our travel plans and the upcoming where we gonna be is gonna be. So, with that, remember to pay for your porn. Support all the wonderful, beautiful content creators and performers that we have on this show, that we know within the industry. Take care of yourself, mental health. Do what makes you keep ticking and being yourself. Remember to wrap it before you tap it. Lick it before you stick it. And until next time.
We'll keep the lights on and the tub warm for you.
I got